Hello everyone, as I'm sure you're all aware by now, Dark Souls 1 Remaster is incoming for the 25th of May 2018 people. Get fucking hype. My god, I was at work when I heard the news. I was on my phone browsing Reddit during my lunch break, and I was just having a look at the Dark Souls subreddits, and fucking Christ, I had to stand up. I'm so fucking excited. I'm so hyped for this. Um, so my Dark Souls story starts with Dark Souls 1, as many people's have. Um, I didn't play it at release. I was tangentially aware of Dark Souls and its existence for a few years before I ended up getting a copy. I think it was already Dark Souls 2 had already been released when I started getting into Dark Souls 1. At first, when I picked it up, I got stuck on like everyone did, got stuck with the Tauros demon, and I shelved it for a while, for another sort of 6 months or so, and then I decided to pick it up and give it another go, having another look at all the praise it was getting. And I came across Ian B had just started his From the Dark series, and he'd only been like 4 or 5 episodes in, and I was using that as kind of a guide to help me get started with the game. And I remember playing along with Ian B as he was doing his From the Dark, and eventually I took over. I got further than he did in his gameplay, and I sort of started taking the reins more myself and doing more exploring without the aid of Ian B. And I've just got so many fond memories of playing this game, of playing Dark Souls 1, and exploring Lordran, and finding bosses on my own, and beating them on my own initiative. And there was sort of, I remember the first time I beat Gwyn. What was I? I was using the halberd. I got the halberd from the Undead Parish, and I'd used that weapon pretty much the entire game. It was sort of, I'm sure if I found my old save and I look back at my old build, I'd probably weep with how shitty it was. And I had I was using the halberd with a great shield against Gwyn, and I thought he was the fucking hardest boss ever. He was like, looking back on it now, and I'd be able to do him again in a heartbeat. But the first time I ever beat Gwyn was such a monumental occasion for me. He was so fast, and he gave you so few opportunities to heal. His damage was amazing. The soundtrack, that piano soundtrack. I'm so glad they brought that back for DS3 for the Soul of Cinder boss fight, the second phase of the Soul of Cinder boss fight. So memorable, and finding Ash Lake, everything about it, even Lost Izalith, for as unfinished as it was. So many fond memories. A fucking run back to the bed of chaos was always so salty. I love it. I loved every moment of it. So yeah, I'm fucking hyped for this. It was kind of gonna be expected, to be honest. I mean, Bandai Namco is sitting on that IP. Because obviously it doesn't really belong to FromSoft. It belongs to Bandai Namco. So they've been sitting on this sort of fucking massive IP that they could knock out a nice remaster for, and they could have done it one of two ways. What they could have done is, or what they could do is a warts and all remake, where they would just increase the graphical fidelity and up the frame rate, and basically keep gameplay as is. That would please a lot of the Dark Souls purists and the OGs out there, because all they really want is an updated, updated graphics and whatnot. But unfortunately, if that was to be the case, there's a lot of, the PvP in that game wasn't particularly balanced, or and it's nothing. You wouldn't be able to get away with having PvP in Dark Souls like that ever again. It was rough as hell. It was unbalanced as fuck. But that was just the way it was, and it was quite a niche title at the time, and they could get away with that kind of stuff. But now it's such a huge monolith of a title, they can't really get away with having sort of like the insta backstabs and the sort of roll. Well, I suppose we've got tumble buffing in this one, but it was a very unbalanced. You could fucking make a very OP build in DS1, and with the ease of parries and whatnot. So So I don't think they're going to be doing that. And what it looks like they're doing is they're doing a pretty much a ground up rebuild of it instead of just reskinning the old game. It looks like they've taken the Dark Souls 3 engine and they're building it from the ground up, which will displease a lot of the purists, because it looks like they're going to be changing a lot of the gameplay elements with regards to combat. And I'm interested to see what happens. I'm interested to see where this goes, because if they significantly change the pace of the combat more in line with what DS3 was, then that's going to completely change, all the PvE aspect of it. I mean, like, if we had the fast-paced action that is Dark Souls 3 is stuck into Dark Souls 1, then everything's going to be a cakewalk, because you can just out DPS absolutely everything. So if they do that, then that means they're going to have to drastically alter the PvE, and that will be very interesting to see. If nothing else, like it could completely change the tone of the game. What I hope that they don't do, the one sort of thing I'm a little bit apprehensive about, is that they don't significantly change the layout of the world and the lore. I imagine there'll maybe some retconning of the lore to fit more in with 2 and 3. I would expect that, but like things to do with item placements and positions of things in the world and little sort of timed events and stuff. I really hope they don't change any of that and they keep that as is. I mean, the combat and the way the enemies act and move and stuff, like, that'll be interesting to see how they do it. I won't be too angry at that, but I really hope they keep sort of the world design the same. I suspect that they will. So yeah, I'm fucking psyched as hell for this, and I understand that people may not be, and that sort of dragging out the Dark Souls 1 corpse and putting on some pretty makeup may not please a lot of people. But the old game isn't going anywhere. The servers are still up for the original Dark Souls 1, so you can't say, oh, the remaster ruined the original. No, the original is still there in all its glory, in all its sort of flawed beauty. It will continue to exist, even after the servers eventually get shut down, which they will. So another thing that we've had a little bit of information on with regards to this remake is going to be how the PvE is going to be, how the PvP is going to be structured. We've already found out that there's going to be dedicated servers instead of P2P networking, which is going to be fantastic. I mean, my god, I'm surprised they didn't implement that in Dark Souls 3, to be honest, but it's going to be great. I'm hoping that it will be extended the entire game, but I imagine what some other people have speculated is that that's only going to be really for arena duels and things like that, which is a shame. I'd really prefer to have a decent connection when I'm invading and stuff, but can't have everything. And they've also announced that up to 6 phantoms will be able to be present in the world, as opposed to 4, which was in the original Dark Souls, which will be very interesting. I think they're going for a more Dark Souls 3 vibe. Hopefully the dry fingers won't be quite as readily available as they were in Dark Souls 3, and they'll still be in the painted world, so you'll actually have to work for your gank a little bit. But still, that's nice to hear, and we'll probably get some 3v3 arena brawls going on in the Artorias of the Abyss DLC, which is also being included in this remake. Thank goodness. I don't think they could get away with not including the DLC, given how fucking fantastic it was. Yeah, so I'm also hoping for the PvP. I imagine they probably will improving the matchmaking, much like it is in Dark Souls 3, where weapon upgrade level is taken into account, as opposed to the DS1 one where you can have a plus 15 weapon and invade people in the Undead Burg. I mean, as hilarious as that was, I don't think that shit would fly nowadays. I mean, I never really got into invading in Dark Souls 1. It was only until Dark Souls 3 that I ever started to consider picking up the Red Eye Orb. Actually, my Invader story begins. It's after I'd completed I had originally had the game on the Xbox One, and I wanted to 100% the game and get all the achievements, as because I'm a saddo and I like to do stuff like that. and I was having a hard time farming Covenant items, especially the fucking vertebra shackles for the Malmaker's Covenant, and the idea of farming those fucking Carthus skeletons was just a little too much. I mean, I'd already farmed up the fucking Silver Knights, and I'd already farmed the fucking Gru and the Dart Race for the Pale Tongues and the Wolfblood Swordgrass, but going for the Carthus Swordsman was just a little too much for me. So I ended up making an arena dueling build, you know, inverted commas, that consisted of rolling attacks and the fucking composite bow, and it was cheesy as all fucking hell. But it fucking worked. It worked like a treat. Back in those early days, all I had to do was just react roll everything and get them with the fucking rolling attack on the composite bow. So I did I did the Pontiff dueling for a while, and you know, I found a way to sort of cheese my way into getting 30 vertebra shackles, which was, you know, I was quite pleased with that. And then eventually, I don't know what caused me to start invading. I made a build using Yorm's Great Machete. It was a fantastic strength weapon. I remember seeing a lot of YouTubers using that weapon and the insane damage they were getting on like ripostes and stuff. So I used that, and I started, you know, you start invasions like everyone starts, getting their shit pushed in by, you know, multi-phantom gangs and stuff. But eventually, you sort of, I wanted to learn, so I went to invasions with a sort of an approach of like, well, okay, going in there and just smashing R1 isn't working for me. What can I do to, you know, split these people up? And you know, I learned the invasion tech myself, about, you know, splitting hosts and phantoms up and kiting them into enemies, and using the environment, using the verticality of the level to get drop attacks and split people up. I mean, I just loved it, like instantaneously. Like when I started seeing success with using all these techniques, it was like, holy Christ, this is nowhere near as hard as people were making it out to be. Like, fucking hell. And sort of my love of invasions just kind of grew from then. And then I remember making a post on Reddit with an invasion guide for people on how to, you know, not suck at invasions. And I got a lot of positive feedback from that. A lot of people were like, yeah, actually this is really good information. Thanks for sharing. And I had one commenter say, hey, you need to check out this YouTuber. He's called Saint Riot. He's only got a few subscribers, but he does a lot. He covers a lot of the techniques that you discuss in a series he's doing called Learn to Invade. And I went to Saint's channel, and he sort of had about 100 subscribers at that point, and he was doing his Learn to Invade series, and absolutely everything that he was going over is stuff that I'd employed and I'd thought about with my invasions, and I was like, holy fuck, this guy really knows his shit. And I just was captivated, and he's funny, and he's charismatic, and he's informative, he's got the whole package. And then from there, as Saint Riot grew in popularity, you branch out and you sort of meet other YouTubers and see their channels, like I Am Amish, Pincognito, Sticky Bandit, Warakari, Raven of Ash, just to name a few. All fantastic Souls players, loving their invasions, and they really see the game, sort of see the beauty of the game and sort of the PvP aspect of it. So I feel really privileged and sort of happy to be part of that sort of online community, even if I'm just a very small part of it, and wanting to share my passion for these games. It's just, I'm really grateful for that. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to bringing my PvP and my invasion prowess into Dark Souls 1, and making up my little embarrassing Dark Souls 1 secret. Whenever I got invaded in Dark Souls 1, and I feel very ashamed of this, whenever I got invaded, I would disconnect. That's my shameful Dark Souls 1 secret. I was a disconnector. And I remember one time I kept getting invaded by the same person. I kept disconnecting on him, and I ended up sending him a message saying, haha, too slow. I look back on that, thank fucking Christ, I hate people who do that to me when I invade them in Dark Souls 3. What kind of prick was I that did it in Dark Souls 1? So yeah, I'm looking forward to redeeming myself there and enjoying the PvP and invasion aspect of it. You know, whatever they do to the gameplay, even if it's the same, if it's different, I'm just looking forward to getting in there, smashing that red eye orb and doing Karth proud. So now that we have a definite date for the release of the remaster, there's a little project that I was working on a while back, which I've shelved, which was a full let's play, a definitive let's play of Dark Souls 3, sort of a la EMB's From the Dark, and I was calling it Victory Lap of Lothric. And I really want to pick that up again, and I want to really give Dark Souls 3 one final play before I get stuck back into Dark Souls 1 when that releases. I've had so much fun with this game. It's been unreal. I mean, for all its flaws and for all the salty whiners that were present at the game's release and everything, I have nothing but praise to heap upon this game and how much I love everything about it, every single aspect. And I wanted to do a really cool, sort of in-depth playthrough with some PvP in it. I was having the dried finger on the entire time, and I got to the Undead Settlement before I ended up shelving it and sort of focusing on just more invasion related videos, which is something I also incredibly enjoy. But if that's something that you guys would like to see, sort of a definitive let's play of the game, with just my commentary on the lore and the gameplay mechanics and sort of what I enjoy, you know, let me know. It's something I really want to do before the release of Dark Souls 1 remaster, just to say a final farewell and a thank you to something that has been a massive part of my life for so long. So yeah, thank you for listening to me ramble and to reminisce about Dark Souls. Like I said, I'm really happy and privileged that I get to be just even a small part of this community and to contribute to, you know, to the PvP community. And thank you to everyone who watches and who comments, and thank you for all the other Souls tubers who upload content and gameplay footage and invasion footage. Just everyone, you know, you're all great. So get hype, people. Get fucking hype. All aboard the hype train. And I'll see you all next time. Thanks very much.